This video was sponsored by VideoBlocks, link in the description below. Okay, I know how much you guys enjoy getting surprised. I love getting surprised, especially when it looks as good as this. So this is a mystery package from Google, and I haven't even looked in it myself, so this is going to be a complete surprise to me and for you guys as well. So let's crack it open. From the outside, this is a pretty huge and super well presented box. If you look at it closely, it's got this fabric-like finish to it, quite reminiscent of a lot of Google's other products. And when you try picking it up, it's actually not at all clear what this is. It's an extremely heavy box, and considering the recent release of the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL, probably not another smartphone. Alright, taking the lid off for the first time reveals the red in the base of the box, and this complements the colour that is also present in Google's own logo. It's a really nice coherent package, although even after taking the lid off it's actually still not clear what it is. Right at the top there's a note, also printed on the same fabric-like material that the exterior of the box was. And this is really fun. There's a little bag in the top right hand corner filled with sweets, and they're in this plastic packaging with a kind of nice Christmassy kind of string wrapped around them. Through appearance alone, I couldn't really tell you what they are. They could be anything from raspberry to mint to vanilla. They are hard-boiled sweets, which basically means they are 90% sugar, but that's fine, it's Christmas. Oh, and they're definitely mint flavoured. Okay, when we took the initial note out, what that revealed was a brand new Google Home Mini below that. I'm almost even more curious what is in the other two boxes, but let's quickly have a look at this one first. I actually quite like the outer packaging here. As well as being a quite unusual cubed shaped box, which you don't see on many products, it is also completely unified with the rest of Google's product line. This wasn't so much the case last year, but this time around, between the Pixels, the Pixelbooks and the Google Home Minis, you've got a really nice ecosystem there. It's also kind of interesting the way the box opens. It almost reminds me of an advent calendar or some cheap and disposable item, almost in a sense as if Google sees these as very low value items and wants you to buy many of them. And yeah, whilst they're not really top tier expensive, they're also not that cheap either, especially when you start to get a lot of them. Aside from the Home Mini, the only other things in the box are a quick start guide and the plug and cable. I actually really like the approach Google's taken to this, trying to make it appear as if it's a piece of furnishing in your room, as opposed to some tech wizardry. Okay, we'll get back to that in just a moment, but what we need to see is what is in these two boxes. And these are making up the majority of the weight of this whole package, so curiosity doesn't even quite cover it. Taking out the one on the left, it also shares the same fabric finish, with Google's signature colour scheme running around the middle. It kinda looks a little bit like a marshmallow that you shouldn't eat. Okay, taking the lid off this thing for the first time reveals what seems to be a stack of cards. So this wasn't quite what we expected over here, not sure what I did expect, but let's take a read at what they say. After reading a couple of these, it becomes clear these are all prompts for your Google Home. They give you ideas on ways you could use it. I think it's actually a really clever idea. Everything from Google's own Easter eggs to recipes that it can retrieve, to how it can connect to your other services. Now, curiously enough, one of the first things you notice, or at least one of the first things that I noticed, was that there are 4 different colours here. And if you turn the cards over, they actually look slightly different on the rear. And that gives me a bit of an inclination that this is going to spell out a Google logo. So let's give it a try and see what happens. Ah, 25 minutes later, I can confirm I was right. Who said YouTubers don't work hard? Interestingly enough, opening up the second package reveals exactly the same thing. It reveals another stack of cards, which are in fact completely identical to the first. So I think a cool thing to do next would be to try them. So currently I have Amazon's Alexa set up, which is great for controlling lights, but I find the voice is very inorganic, and also it seems to pick up the word Alexa even when I've said nothing close to it. So halfway through filming a video, I'll just hear that thing interrupt. So let's try Google Home and see if it's any better.
Cocktail, 2 dashes, Worcestershire sauce. On the website theguardian.com, they say...
Alright, so I spent about 15-20 minutes just going through a lot of the different commands on Google Home, and the voice does actually sound quite a lot more natural. Unfortunately, the way it strings together sentences does not.
Because it is simpler, cheaper and easier to make a square box than a round one, and also it is easier to store, transport and pack.
Now, whilst it does sometimes feel like it is just dictating the internet, the variety of things you can ask it and still get a decent answer was actually great. I tried several variations of some of the questions that were present on the card, changing things like the sentence structure and the content, and most of the time it was still able to come back with a response. Having a quick look at the note in the box, the idea of this package was to give one to a friend. So to give a friend not only a Google Home Mini, but also one of the boxes containing all these cards, so they can really get the most out of it. We've then got one set of cards for ourselves, as well as a Google Home Mini that we were given some time ago. So as I said, this video was sponsored by VideoBlocks. Now VideoBlocks has one of the fastest growing, largest stock video libraries with over 3 million videos, After Effects and motion backgrounds. And there are a whole suite of benefits for using this service. Not only is the library absolutely gigantic, but also all of these clips come with a royalty-free agreement, which means that when you use them in your own content, you cannot get hit with copyright claims. On top of that, this includes the only contributor marketplace that actually gives 100% of the commission straight back to the artists. And good news, because we're actually giving away 7 days of VideoBlocks so you can try it out and get access to this massive video library and royalty-free license for free. So go to videoblocks.com/YouTube or click the link in the description box below to start downloading and get 7 days totally free. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. My name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'm signing out.